Yo, deadlifts are feeling amazing right now on a stiff bar. I'm hoping to make that 550 roughly about my opener. I would really like to hit a 600-pound deadlift on a stiff bar in a meet finally. I've done 605 on a stiff bar in the gym, and I have hit 600 in a meet with a deadlift bar, but I've never done it in a meet on a stiff bar. Yeah, you can cook the gluten-free pasta. I'll handle the steak. Oh my God, that's who does this beat? Scott Storch. You know your stuff. I was never allowed to get Lunchables when I was a kid because they're too expensive growing up. What's your official unbiased opinion of this beat?
I like it, babe.
You like it?
Yes, a lot.
Any critiques?
No, it came out really good.
Thank you. How many times have I asked you?
I can't keep track. All the stuff's so subtle, it's so good.
I just made this bad boy today on the keyboard. Check it out. It's badass, I think. I really like it, and that's why I'm like so rattled by it. I keep asking her like what she thinks about it. She has a good ear for music.
Like at least 7 times.
How many times did I ask you?
At least 7.
She has a good ear. She'll pick it out. She'll be like, oh, like hi-hats are too loud or something like that. She likes it, but I like it a lot, so I'm like, she can't like it. Check it out. It's on my new channel, Red Raven. Link in the info box. I even sent it to Johnny Candido because he has a good opinion on music. He always shares that on Twitter. I sent it to Jay Wright.
What did he say?
Give me a huge response with like some technical details and stuff I'm really trying to work on and learn. This thing is crazy. I'm so high in the air, not, yeah. Back in Boston, much bigger load this time, so I got a bigger vehicle. And this time, ooh, I don't stand out of the crowd as bad. All right, time to unload almost 20 boxes all the way down that walkway and into my living room. And I'm gonna just dump in my living room for right now because I gotta get this truck back by 1, and it is now 12:30, so that's a challenge. 3, 2, 1, boom. Good to go. I'm totally lying. That was a pain in the ass. And it's 1 o'clock now on the dot, so see if I can shoot over there and not get charged extra time. It was actually almost 12:50 when I got here. I said it was 12:30, but then I looked at my phone, it was like 12:47, so did that in like 12 minutes, but this is so crazy. Hold on. Listen to Joe Rogan. This is so crazy sitting back in my car now after being in that high-ass van. It was so weird. Like, that van was like really high up and then really straightforward. Like, you're almost like leaning over the window, it feels like. And then I sit back in this thing and I feel like I'm in a Lamborghini right now. Like, I feel like I'm sitting on the floor, like on the actual street. It's so weird being this low and having the dashboard be like up here in eye level. And this is a Dodge Magnum. This isn't exactly a sports car.
I think what led off was a combination of 3 things. 1, I'm Jewish, and obviously so. 2, I was working at Wright and then I quit.
Okay, success. I got the van dropped off on time. Came back home and finished bringing these down here into the basement, and it's evident that I need a bigger basement. I actually do have a back room here that I could probably use. Open this and enter laundry room, but it's actually a decent size. And like, I don't use any of this. Like, I could really just get rid of all of this stuff. Like, this is an empty thing taking up a ton of space. It's all just junk, and then there's more down there underneath the staircase. So I could actually clear all this out and fit everything in this back room and then get my basement back. But that's a task for another day because it's already about 1:30 or 2 p.m. and I still haven't eaten once today, and I gotta get to the gym. Oh, and one other factor I didn't tell you guys about is I'm on 3.5 hours of sleep, I think. Just could not fall asleep last night, and then I got up nice and early this morning. And ironically, I was just listening to Joe Rogan's podcast where he talks to Matt Walker about sleep. powerlifting, you see a lot of people that don't really understand strength training comment about bench form, like the arch. And you'll hear a lot of comments saying like the arch is cheating, or what's the point if you shorten up your range of motion, it's not a real lift, it's an ego lift. So what's interesting is I was thinking about this. I don't really think this way because everyone can just lift the way they want to lift and it doesn't really matter to me. But for argument's sake, I would actually argue that the flat, like benching completely flat, like traditionally with a flat back, is an ego lift. I think that's an ego lift. Because in my eyes, you're basically saying, I'm sacrificing efficiency, I'm sacrificing my ability to push the most amount of weight for overload, and I'm sacrificing safety of my shoulders, all just so I can say I benched it with a higher range of motion. And that was harder. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. It's all ego. Because if you break it down, look at the benefits really quick. With the arch back. One, it puts you into a decline position. Decline position is the most efficient benching position. One, it allows you to move the most amount of weight, which is great for overloading the muscle. Two, it activates the most pectoral fibers. So if you want to actually activate and work the pecs, the decline position is the best, not to mention the amount of weight it lets you move for overload. Two, because you're arching, you are shortening up your range of motion a little bit, which is going to allow you to move the most amount of weight on the bench press in general. Like, yes, it's going to help you move more weight in the bench. That's good. Again, moving more weight equals more muscular overload. So you're overloading the muscle better by benching the most amount of weight you can physically bench while still keeping your butt and shoulders planted on the bench safely. And last but not least, it is the safest technique because it allows you to retract your scapula to the fullest. If you bench on a totally flat, hard, like commercial gym bench especially, and you try to keep a flat back, you're only gonna be able to retract your shoulder blades so much. And the proof is in the pudding because I can't tell you how many people I know who have torn a pec or damaged a rotator cuff by flat back barbell benching. But I very, very, very rarely see it happen in powerlifting with big arch benchers. Every so often, somebody will still hurt themselves. Injuries happen in strength. It's unavoidable, but it happens so much more commonly in the bodybuilding side of things where everyone benches with a flat back. You see it almost all the time. You not only can retract better with the arch, but you can actually put your body weight onto your traps a little bit more, completely taking your shoulders out of the equation in an unhealthy way. So arching literally allows you to move the most amount of weight, overload the most amount you can overload your muscles with, do it the most efficiently, activating the most pectoral muscle fibers, and do it the safest. Arching is safer, more effective, and more efficient. Flat back benching to me is literally knowing all of that, and if you still decide you want a flat back bench because it's quote unquote a real bench press, to me that's an ego lift. To me, you're literally just saying, okay, fuck hitting and activating the chest, fuck keeping myself safe. I'm going to throw all that to the wind just because I want to be able to say I benched with a higher range of motion than you and it was harder, which is just absolutely ridiculous to me. That's my 2 cents on this topic. Again, this is just splitting hairs. I really don't care that much at all how other people bench. It is interesting though how skewed the general population is. You won't hear many powerlifters or strength athletes comment about the arch because we understand biomechanics and we understand exercise science, like even just the basics of it, so we get it. But it's mostly like the newer people that are just go to the gym recreationally, maybe are just getting started. They don't really understand it. They're usually the ones commenting on it. And it's just interesting because they'll comment on that, but they won't blink an eye at, the newbie starting off, not retracting the shoulder blades, but benching with a really flat back with horrible form. It's just kind of crazy to me.